Round 3 of the NHL playoffs are here, and it surprised all of us so far. The biggest villain franchise in the league has given everyone the bird by pissing people off both on and off the ice. Meanwhile, we have a team that was undefeated coming into this round that got a rude awakening from the youngest group in the league that just keeps looking scarier and scarier with every game that passes. We're just getting started, so let's break down everything that happened in part 1 of our round 3 recap. So coming into game 1 of the Western Conference Final, a lot has happened on both sides for both Vegas and Colorado. Let's start with Vegas, who is once again speedrunning, becoming the most hated team in the NHL. After their round 2 win, John Tortorella refused to come out and talk to the media, so Gary said, "You motherfucker, I'm dropping the hammer," and he fined Torts $100K and docked Vegas their second round pick in this year's draft. On top of that, Bruce Cassidy, their Stanley Cup winning coach that they canned with about 7 games left in the season, they are straight up gatekeeping this dude from their rivals. They're not granting permission to the Oilers or the Kings to talk to him about the head coaching position. And then you throw in the whole Mitch Marner storyline and him becoming a playoff god. This team has almost every other fan base in the world cheering against them. Then you have the Colorado Avalanche, who are the superpowers of the NHL, but they're missing Cale Makar out with injury. He's going to miss game 1, which is a massive blow for the Avs. So we jump into the first period, and Colorado are the team coming out with the jump. Logan O'Connor comes in and rips it off the bar. The transition game in this series will be key for both teams, but when there was breakdowns, each goalie made a few huge stops in the first, Scotty Wedgwood especially, to keep this at zeros. But late in the first, Carter Hart says, "I can do that too." Avs get on the power play. Devon Taves throws one on net. Rebound is played out to Kadri, and Carter Hart, feeling glovely, just grabs that out of the air, no problem. He looked dialed early, and this game is tied at 0 going into the second. Now, here's when we see that transition play really become a factor. Whoever the F3s are at any given moment, they have to make sure they stay above the opposing team center to avoid odd man rushes. Here's an example of how quick things can shift in this series. McKinnon is the fastest, if not the second fastest skater on the planet, and here he is the high F3. This is a good scoring opportunity, so he decides to jump in and go for it, but a block springs the play the other way. He made the right read. He isn't even below the hash marks, but the transition game is so fast between these two teams that right away it turns into a 3-on-2 for Vegas. And even though McKinnon, again, one of the fastest skaters in the world, is busting his balls trying to get back, he still can't catch Eichel, who is pretty damn close to skating speed with McKinnon and who will likely be his matchup all series long. And so Vegas really has this green light to jump on turnovers right away. Here the Avs player just hits a banana peel along the wall, Mario Kart style, tumbles right down. So instantly 4 players for Vegas, including the D and Coughlin, jump up. That makes it a 4-on-3. Vegas hits the late man and D arriving in Coughlin, and he sends a nice reminder to Wedgwood to close his damn legs, beats him to the deck clean. It is 1-0 Vegas. The Avs, though, they do get in a little bit of penalty trouble here. Ross Colton gives Anderson a brotherly shove with a little stinky glove at the end of it and catches him in the face. It can't do that, but the Oscar still goes to Anderson, who is snapping his head back like crazy. A lot of players are in these playoffs. They know the Stripes are going to call it, and why not if they're going to get 2 minutes on the power play. Next on the Vegas upset checklist is Mitch Marner remaining a playoff wizard, despite everyone saying, wait until he plays a real team. This is going to start with the entry. Usually they do a single drop back with Eichel carrying it in, but here they're going to have Marner as the one driving the middle entry. However, this is all timing. When Eichel gets this puck at the blue line and moves towards the red line to wait for Marner, he could feed him right here. But not only does this run the risk of being picked off, but it also allows these Avs defenders more time to close the gap with him getting the puck earlier up ice. Instead, Eichel decides to go up the wall again, so now this Avs killer is forced to step up and respect that play, but it also opens this lane even further for Marner. Now he gets the puck with a full head of steam, and he has a speed mismatch against the last defender, little Cal Chipchura over the D stick. He's got the fellas reaching. He says, "You reach, I teach." The thing about Marner, he's got X-ray vision, Superman shit, seeing through walls and stuff when he's feeling confident. He knows Pavel Dorofeev is coming down the chimney here like Santa, so it's a no-look hook pass right to the tape. Dorofeev on the doorstep. EA Sports, it's in the name for the guy. 2-0 Vegas at the end of 2, and the Mitch Marner show goes on. Now, another thing Vegas was doing so well in this game was blocking shots. They blocked a total of 23 shots compared to Colorado's 11, and none bigger than this one. Vegas just kills the penalty. Howden blocks this shot right out to Hutton. Coming out of the box, it's a 2-on-1. He goes for the shot. It bounces up in the air, and Howden remains Wayne Gretzky in these playoffs, gloves it down midair and taps it in. Vegas has a 3-0 lead. What the hell is going on here, boys? The Avs look like a completely different team without Cale Makar, but they're still so dangerous offensively. No lead is safe. Remember when we talked about the transition and the F3 here? Vegas has no F3 hanging higher or above the play with their possession, and this one will drive towards up a wall in the video session the next day. He may chuck a Gatorade bottle at Barbashev here, trying to force a cross-seam pass with all this traffic in a 3-0 game. Sure enough, it's picked off, and now Colorado has the 3-on-2, and this is a perfect center lane drive by Nichushkin. Timing the kickoff pass to the wing is everything. You always want to gain the middle of the ice and the opposing team's blue line before dishing it off to the wall. Why? Because defenses are inclined to step up at the blue line, and kicking it out too early, it makes it easier for defenses to kill the play. If he passes here, it's not as dangerous as this, where his middle entry possession forces this defender to close in and try and protect the line. Sure enough, he gets both Vegas defenders bumping into each other like it's a sponsored Timbit skate. You give, you go. It's a gentleman's sport. Between the legs tip. How are you? Don't let the Avs come back. They start pressing and get a late power play where Nathan MacKinnon shows us why he's the dog. He says, fuck it, I'm going to do it myself. 1-on-4 entry. He fans on the shot, and Braden McNabb is lining up the poke from hell here. Whoop. Sorry, MacKinnon vanishes right into thin air, drives towards the net, and then it is the sauce that would make Nunnup proud right onto the stick of Gabriel Landeskog. This is within one. So are the Avs going to do this again? Are they going to come back late yet again? Nuh-uh. Nick Dowd with the sickness, buries the empty netter. That's all she wrote. Vegas holds on to take a 1-0 series lead, and a big reason is that man, Carter Hart. Vegas defended really well in this game for the most part. The Avs still had plenty of chances, but they blocked shots and made it a rather predictable game for Hart to read off of. And when they needed him to bail them out, he did that too. 36 saves on the night. Everyone had Colorado winning this series, but without Cale Makar, this is a whole new ball game, ladies and gentlemen. That is only the second loss of the playoffs for the Avs, and Nathan MacKinnon is already a bit heated in the postgame when they asked him about what went wrong in this loss.
Anything to really take from how that game ended, or is this?
I've just said execution like 5 times. I think that's what hurt us.
There you go. The dog is already barking at the media. Maybe they should fine him $100K and take their second-round pick, because why the hell not? They did it to Vegas. Either way, it's clear that the Avs felt like they were the better team, but they're still down 1-0 in this series. Then we go to Game 1 for the Eastern Conference Final. The Habs, fresh off of sending the Sabres to Cabo in 7, while the Hurricanes spent the last week and a half just sitting on the couch waiting and chomping at the bit to get going. They are well rested, but it might not be the best thing. It's like jumping on a moving train going up against a team that was just in a Game 7. That being said, this starts with Carolina setting the tone. The Hurricanes are all about shooting and retrieving and using close support to create offense. The game just started. They rim it around the boards to get Montreal's whole defensive structure to change sides. Shocker, Carolina's first to the puck. You got a D ready to choke off the play, and Svechnikov here is ready to support Aho off of his touch, which is just lovely, by the way. This is bang bang shrimp with a little Andrea Pirlo action, with Svechnikov kicking it right to Jarvis on a platter. A quick 1T from Jarvis, and 33 seconds in, that's all it took for Carolina to go up 1-0. And right away, everyone's thinking this could be a shit pumping by the Hurricanes. Fresh off of margaritas from the beach, the Hurricanes look rested, they're ready to go, and are all horned up. But Montreal takes advantage of that. Carolina got wound up way too much in this first period. They get 3 deep down low after the Habs beat the pressure with 1 pass. It's a 3-on-2, and then their over-aggressiveness hurts them again as Slavkovsky gets this loose puck behind the net. All 4 Canes players get puck focused on him and just start gravitating towards him. The guy turned into the most interesting man in the world for just a split second. That leaves the 50-goal man all alone in front. You can't do that. He buries 30 seconds later to tie this up. And that over-aggressiveness would be the story for Carolina. This is a 4-on-4, which means everything's man-on-man here. So as Carrier wheels up the wall, he beats his man in Aho, which leaves Jarvis in an awkward spot. He wants to close off this gap, but that leaves his man in Danault open, especially with Gostisbehere behind the play. He can't cover him. So the Canadiens with a little bump action right to the middle. Danault is now home alone, and he beats Freddie to make it 2-1. Carolina is starting to feel dizzy, and just wait. The Habs have been really good on the forecheck, in my opinion, in these playoffs, and here's another example. Texier, as the F1 chips, chases, gets in on the body, and Danault right away as the F2 doesn't even give the support defenseman a chance to breathe or play this puck. It is textbook, really. The D pinches down. You have the F3 swinging for support. Turnover. It goes to Tex-Mex in the slot. And I love this little pop out to space as well, just to get enough separation from Slavin. Bingo. 3-1 Montreal. That is the first time in this year's playoffs where Frederik Andersen has allowed 3 goals in a single game. He's been incredible, but there's the conference final Fred X that we've all come to know over the years. That being said, it wasn't all on him. Carolina as a whole were just out of sorts in the first period, and it's timing, which is probably because of the week and a half off. But here, Keandre Miller wants to surf towards the puck carrier to kill the play, but the timing of the decision is just wrong. It leaves Demidov wide open. He comes in, backhand, forehand, tuck. Ugh. That is pretty. It is clear Montreal is waiting for Carolina to get over-aggressive and then make them pay. 4-1 at the end of the first 4 goals on 10 shots for the Habs, too. Rob Brind'Amour 100% went into the locker room and started slapping the shit out of each player individually after that period. Just over-aggressive, bad reads all around, at Montreal exposed massively. So Carolina comes out in the second with a bit more hop. 2 minutes in, Caulfield does have a chance to really put this bad boy to bed. He gets a breakaway, ding, fries are done, goes off the post. Carolina comes right back the other way and does the exact same thing, except Eric Robinson puts it in the back of the net to make this a 2-goal game. That could be a huge swing, and Carolina a couple times got in behind Montreal's D, but I thought Dobish again came up big when he needed to. Carolina outshot Montreal 11-3 in that period and started to tilt things in their favor, but then Montreal pushed back in the third, where again, the name of the game for Montreal in this one was just being able to make that quick play under pressure. And it's kind of funny because this entire play starts with no pressure at all from Carolina. Here they let Montreal just sit behind their net for just 2 to 3 business days, waiting for them to set up a breakout, which ends up being almost like a flyout play. They're going to have Caulfield on the red line to stretch out Carolina, while Slavkovsky builds speed underneath to come into space. But it's the touches to beat pressure that is most important here. Caulfield has a guy right on him. It's a quick move and then a pass off to Suzuki, who also has a guy right on him too, but it's just a deft touch to leave it to Slav to skate into, and now he's got space and speed going up against a forward and Svechnikov. Cover your eyes if you don't want to see something so disgusting, because Svechnikov goes for the poke and we get another you reach, I teach moment. Slavkovsky just toe drags around him. He's got Svechnikov spinning like a Beyblade, and the finish is lovely. Filthy. How dare he? That was pretty much the dagger. Canes fans start clearing out the lower bowl. They've seen enough. Slavkovsky gets his second with the empty netter, and Montreal absolutely spanks Carolina in game 1 to hand them their first loss of the playoffs. Now, a few things about this game. First, Carolina allowed just 5 goals in each of their first 2 series. Now in game 1, they've allowed 6. Freddie has been unbelievable in these playoffs, but he certainly has the reputation of being the opposite in the conference finals. And when the lights are the brightest, will he bounce back? That's going to be the big question. Second, Montreal, when it was time to defend, gave Carolina absolutely nothing in the third period. They went 18 minutes without a shot on goal, which is honestly remarkable considering that Carolina puts more pucks on net than any other team in the league. Because Montreal plays this hybrid structure, we saw them get exposed at times with a ton of motion against Buffalo and their active D. It's really hard to contain when man-on-man. Carolina, on the other hand, doesn't really have that same mobility and skill level that Buffalo's D has. And so for Carolina, when trying to make plays up high, it could be more difficult for them to shake the man-on-man coverage of Montreal. At least in this game, the Habs did a fantastic job at containing Carolina and avoiding any egregious breakdowns. Lastly is Montreal's offense. The Suzuki line had a big night 5-on-5, which is something it desperately needed. But beyond that, they had a game plan for Carolina's aggressiveness, and they executed it to a T. Coach Marty St. Louis has done an amazing job tactically with this team, but I think he's done just as good, if not better, with how he handles the psychology of the team. You can tell in his post-game interviews and how players talk about his communication style. It's his calm demeanor that just oozes through the lineup. Even something as simple as making plays under pressure, players feed off of the calmness of their coach. Take a beat, be patient, and the right play will emerge. And you can really tell this from the dialogue on the bench as well. Everything's calm, everything's in open communication. He's constantly teaching and taking information, and it's a major reason why the Habs' success has been quick for their youth. Although it is just game one, I expect game two to be a better indication of this series as a whole. I expect the intensity and tactical clarity to be much better for Carolina in game two. The beers on the beach will do that to you, but for now, they're down 1-0 in this series. So, what surprised you? Who pissed you off about these games? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, I'm Anthony from Hockey Psychology. We do all the breakdowns on this channel, and if you want to see more just like this, check out any of the videos here and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss a single thing.